stuff, so they learn the language. Hey Trudy, hey Nelly, how are you?
Hey, we're doing awesome.
Come on in. Gotta move in. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Great. We have two people that are doing great. How is it? There we go. Awesome. Well, we got a lot of stuff to cover today. I am super excited. I'm very thankful to the folks that are here to put together the reunion, who we're going to pick the brains of. I've got a little bit of content to go over at the beginning of the meeting, and then we will turn it over to those awesome ladies who are going to come up here and kind of share some of their takeaways, their ahas, etc. So before we do that, I just want to touch on a couple of the remaining items that are coming up before the end of this month, and then we'll touch on March as well. So today, obviously, we're knocking out the team meeting, and tomorrow is, oh, by the way, most importantly, Soup Wednesday. Okay, I know that that's on everybody's calendar. Also, there's another session of 3612-3 taking place tomorrow from 9:30 to 12 right here. The topics are for sale by owners, expired, as well as agent-to-agent referrals. The agent-to-agent referrals tomorrow will probably be a little bit more relevant to you after some of the content we go over today. Mel is in Austin in the morning on Thursday, and then she's going to be here in Rochester from 12 to 4 on Thursday. And then we have our last session of 3612-3 on Friday, March 2nd, from 9:30 to 12. And the session is going to cover lead generation and goals. So looking ahead to March, as the market begins to pick up, which is great news. Career visioning is going to be held the 7th and the 8th. That's going to be in Bloomington. The first day, the 7th, is kind of the 9 to 5 day. And then that second day, Thursday, is a kind of a half day from about 9 to noon or 9 to 1 p.m. Again, that's in Bloomington. Career visioning, the whole purpose of that course is to teach you and give you some methods and systems and insight on how to hire people. So if that's something that's on the horizon for you, even if it's not, bless you. Even if it's not, a month or two away, even if it's like half a year or a year away, now might be a good time to start attending that course to kind of learn some of the things you need to learn about the hiring process and things you should consider. How to utilize the KPA, for example. You see every Thursday there's a scripts practice and lead generation time built in the morning. This Thursday, I forgot to mention earlier, I'm going to teach a class on KWLS to the max. How can you truly leverage and maximize and utilize the Keller Williams listing syndication capabilities that you have. It's pretty phenomenal with the brand photos, syndicate them to a bunch of websites to really maximize your exposure and drive some more leads to your website. Okay, Trudy or Nelly, maybe I'll let one of you two speak to this, but you've got some workshops going on Thursdays. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
So they're being held here. I see that that's on the calendar. It's at 125 Left. It's not. It's right here in the training center.
All right, that can be changed.
And it's 4 weeks long. Kind of a workshop / support group. So the idea is to talk about healthy eating activity now that we're into March. And those who have made New Year's resolutions, maybe
I don't like to talk about mine.
A little bit. So it's really just to focus back on hitting our goals and the habits that we started maybe at the beginning of the year. So the first week is talking about mindset, picking a plan or encouraging the plan that you've already chosen to eat healthy.
Okay.
The second week is talking about how to shop in the grocery store,
okay.
the right foods to focus on and to bring home, because you can't put any healthy food if you don't have it in your house.
This is a true statement. I know that from experience.
And the third week, I have a good friend who is a coach. She helps people with activities.
Okay.
And focusing primarily on those of us who sit at a desk, at an office, some ways to stay active. The fourth week, I have a friend who's a health coach. She's going to come in. Her name is Denise Stiefel, and she's going to cook some healthy food, and we're going to have lunch together.
I thought the fourth
She's
week.
really good.
I thought I was running a mini boot camp the fourth week. We're going to go jog 5 miles. And push up.
Well,
is that off?
we're gonna plan a 5K.
Okay, cool.
Probably for June.
Okay, cool. And so for those of you that don't know, and you're like, why are we talking about this kind of stuff right now? Am I at Lifetime or the Rack or what's going on? Trudy, you are what for the office?
I am the KW Wellness Ambassador.
And what does that mean?
It means that I encourage healthy living, healthy habits in the market.
Awesome. Very good. And I appreciate that. Thank you for doing this. Highly encourage you to attend that if you could use a little bit of that in your life. I think if we're honest with ourselves, we can all use a little bit of that in our lives. Me, especially right now. Good Lord. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Nell on Thursday the 8th is going to teach an e-edging campaigns workshop. So whether you or an administrative assistant or somebody can attend that, I highly recommend it if you need to get spun up on e-edging campaigns a little bit. The 13th, we've got a team meeting from 12 to 2. That'll also be our ALC meeting day. The 14th, Katie is leading a CGI goals kind of workshop from 10 to 11. On 15th, so our Austin office actually moved just a little bit down the road in Austin. There's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony for those guys on the 15th at 3:30. Everybody is welcome to attend if you'd like to. It's not going to be anything, too fancy, but it'll be a good time. You can go support those guys if you like. 20th, dot looping green sheets will be taught by Katie. And on the 21st, obviously we let Jim come up with the title for this class called Cover Your Assets, How Not to Get Sued, hosted by Jim. That'll be from 1 to 2 here. Great class. Jim's going to throw some broker knowledge out there. Jim, is there anything you'd like to share about that day or speak for himself? How to stay out of trouble. Worth its weight in gold. On the 22nd, Mel is going to be back to teach another workshop. It's going to be on the Keller Williams websites. And then also we've got our awards banquet scheduled for the 22nd at Cambria from 4 to 6 p.m. The 27th is the first step to bowl. That's going to be held at the Burnsville Keller Williams office. And then if you'd like, before you leave, you can grab one of these sheets. It lays out all the other dates for the bowl sessions that will take place. The Burnsville Market Center is just a tad over an hour from here. Great opportunity for you to rub elbows with some other agents of the referral network and attend a great session of bowl. Team meeting is
that the only one going to be held? Or
there's another one north of the stage too. Yeah. I don't have any info on that one, but I could dig it up for you.
Monday. I know that one is on
Mondays?
Yeah. Very far.
Is it? Yeah, you went last time, right?
Yeah.
Is it the Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going up.
But this one's on Tuesdays. It's a journey.
But it's over that.
Just pack a healthy lunch.
There you go.
That's right.
Phenomenal time to be hitting up gold though as we move into the second quarter of the busy time of year. So because the first step is on that Tuesday, our second team meeting of the month will be Wednesday the 28th of March from 11 to 12. And I think that's about all I have to say about that.
So what is the award banquet at Cambria? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can, yeah. So here's the deal. I didn't know that you guys used to do an awards banquet in the past, so we didn't do it last year. And so people let me know about that. Yeah, let's just put it nicely. So I said, okay, cool. Then I need to know about that. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. At Burnsville, we didn't do it for many years, and then what we did is at our team meeting, we would just recognize people and kind of give them a certificate. Kind of not a huge deal, but just a recognition. Well, I learned here, you like to make a little bit more of a good time out of it, which I think is a great thing and very smart. So we have Cambria on reserve. We're going to go. We're going to hang out. You're welcome to come. It's going to be more of a kind of an informal happy hour, some light appetizers. And we'll recognize people for their achievements in 2017, certain volume, production, all that fun stuff.
When is that?
That is the 22nd from 4 to 6. Thank you. 22nd from 4 to 6. So, any other questions? What I was told is it's one of the few things that we get not everybody, but a lot of people from all of our different locations come to it. So I said, well, that's pretty cool. Let's have a good time and get as many people there as we can from all over our different locations. Okay, so now I want to transition, moving from all that information to a couple of highlights that I want to talk about from some stuff coming down the pipeline. It was talked about a little bit at family reunion. And for those of you that are on the panel, if you plan to talk about some of this stuff, that's okay. I'm going to hit it surface level. I'm sure you're going to have a lot more insight to add to it. But I'm going to talk about Kelly, the app, a little bit. I'm going to talk about KW Connect just a tad. And then honestly, I'm going to focus on the referral network feature, because the more I dove into it, the more I was kind of blown away by it. And what got me excited about it is the fact that if this is just like one of the first of many that they're putting on display for us, I can't imagine all the stuff they're going to have in the works by the time it's all said and done. It's pretty cool. So without further ado, we're going to watch a quick video regarding the app, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, sir. That guy needs a lot of help if that's a question he's asking. Don't we all? Okay, cool. So before we get into anything else regarding that, what are some questions that you have regarding the video and some of what you saw in it? That must have been a really great video if it explained everything. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have ever sent an agent a referral and then forgot about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? And sometimes you get a pleasant surprise a few months later when a referral check shows up, and like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Awesome. Or sometimes like 6 or 7 months go by and you realize, whatever happened to that thing? Did that sucker close? Did they forget to give me my referral commission that's not supposed to get? So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. No questions or anything about that? And how many of you have already downloaded the app? Okay, cool. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute.
How is it working on the different platforms?
I know that a lot of Android people were saying it was giving some difficulties at first, but then I think that they seemed to get it working again. Anybody still having issues with it? I'm an Apple guy. It's 2018 after all. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. And it's been working fine on my phone. Anybody else? Well, we'll talk about it in just a minute.
I've got some information I brought back to you guys.
Okay, perfect. I know Bruce right away said, hey, I'm an Android guy. I'm having some issues. And then I posted some info about have you downloaded the most recent version of Android software? And then after that, I don't know if he did or not, but he said, hey, it's working fine now. So.
Did you say that we'll get to?
Yes.
You're supposed to,
we'll talk
right?
about- Yep.
I'll talk about that. Yeah.
All right. So what I don't want to do is get I don't want to confuse anybody because we're going to be talking about the referral network and the app and KW Connect, and it's important that we understand how they all work together because they're all pieces of the puzzle. So what that was right there was just a quick vignette of Kelly, the Keller Williams app that you can utilize. Now that app interacts with your referral network, which you can also access via KW Connect. Okay. So that was a video about Kelly, the app you can utilize. The next video, look at I was just getting excited over there already. The next video I'm going to show you relates to your referral network, which is another feature or platform you can utilize. And I'll tie them all together in just a little bit. This one's not as exciting, but the content of this is pretty awesome. So this should be on your computer. Okay, any questions come to mind after seeing that?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't even know how to get this properly set up with the Touch ID, or if it's not even.
Your phone?
Yes.
We'll work on that, man.
Ah,
We'll work on that.
this is ridiculous.
Go ahead. Talk to you.
Oh, I've had a lot of requests and I'm accepting them and I'm adding agents. But then some people are like, Carly, your profile is not set up as good as it could be.
We'll talk about that.
So I thought, can that happen in the app? Does that happen
That
in
you go into
Connect?
KW Connect, we're gonna
Okay.
speak exactly to that,
Okay,
thank you
okay.
for bringing it up. So in a nutshell, and this is what has me kind of excited about this, because as an agent, I've experienced this. Number one, I'm really excited about this as a team leader, because hopefully now I won't get those phone calls and say, Zach, find me an agent somewhere, which I'm having fun, I love those phone calls, but it's kind of like, okay, well, here's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna Google what market center is out that way, you know, and I'll talk to the team leader, put me in touch with or whatever. Here, you can go straight to the network, you can search and find the exact market center where you're looking. And oh, by the way, what I love about this too is it kind of shows you who you're dealing with. If you didn't notice, it shows their production, right? Okay, who am I working with here? Is it somebody that's experienced or not? And you can connect and everything. If they send you a referral, it's all synced up with your phone, and the app can get immediate notifications and accept on the spot. Right, that's pretty powerful. And oh, by the way, who owns and controls the system? That is unbelievable. That's unreal. That is unreal. That they own and have developed and have created all this. So it's all in-house. So let's look at what that looks like in your own dashboard. If you go here in KW Connect Referrals, you'll find some more information about it. Basically, it's going to point you to your dashboard. All of these links I've already posted in our Facebook group, so you can go here and click on them and visit them. Leanne, like this might be kind of helpful for you. This is a walkthrough on all the different things you can utilize with the app, and it kind of shows you exactly what to do and how to do it.
I think I went through this once and I was just like,
Well, this is brand spanking new.
I need somebody else to walk me through because there's something I did wrong. And
This is an example, thanks Sean. This is an example of my dashboard and what it looks like. So what I did is you log into kw.com, you go to KW Connect, and then you click on Referral Dashboard or Referral Network. Let me scroll up and see if I can show you. My referrals. Sometimes I get a goofy view when I display it to the computer, but it's a button up here you can click that says My Referrals. It brings you right in here. And what you can do is you can send referrals through this platform to other agents. So you click send, you can use the map feature, or you can search a specific person or a city to pull up who services that area. Now, once you send one, and I sent one just to have some fun to Bruce to see what it's like, it tracks it for you. It says it's awaiting response. So right here I can see, yep, I've sent him a referral. It allows me to see the status, if he's accepted it, etc. Down here shows me all the people that are in my referral network already. And one thing you can do when you have somebody in your network is you can kind of take a look to say, okay, is this somebody that, you know, what are their stats? What are they doing business wise? You can take a look at how long have they been with the company, how long have they been in the industry, what kind of business do they do, all that fun stuff. Everybody already has this, you just have to go into kw.com, thanks John, and access it and start utilizing it. Because if you're anything like me, especially if you just came back from training or union, what do you do when you're there with other Keller Williams agents? You network. Usually you exchange business cards. If you're anything like me, those business cards usually end up in the trash rack or get or whatever. But now all you would do is say, Sue, it was great to meet you. But I'm going to send you a request to join my referral network. Now I can't lose it. I won't forget it. If I check my network, I'm going to find Sue. Yeah, I remember Sue in La Crosse. She's already in my network. Right? You can send referrals and track them within the system, so you won't forget or anything like that. In theory, right?
Yeah, it was great at family reunion. In the family reunion app, there was a game, and basically you didn't have to exchange cards. It was a QR code, and you just take a picture of each other's phone, and then you have their card.
Because this is how unreal it is, and it's going to get better, but right now it's already pretty good. So if you download the KW app, you go to the App Store and you type in Kelly, K-E-L-L-E. The app looks like this. It's not a True Living app, but good color choice. You can open it up, and you can track. You can add people to your referral network within the app, and you can do it also through your network. What's cool is, like I'll speak to it and say, find associate Leanne Martin. And in just a matter of seconds, Leanne, I hate to tell you, there's another Leanne Martin with Keller Williams out there. It just pulled her up like that.
Where is she?
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, where is Leanne? What is she doing right now?
There's actually
What is her favorite line?
Fraser
Just kidding.
in Rochester that used to be Leanne Martin.
So here's what's cool. If you're anything like me, every once in a while, you might be trying to get a hold of somebody. You don't know where you put their number. It's like, I just talked to Nellie. What's your number? I'm just going to say, find associate Nellie Denter. And I'm pretty impressed with the last names. Like I said, Bruce DeMille, and I got it right. There you are. You don't know. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's just one of many features.
It has my picture now, so for
Your KW
many,
Connect profile.
I know, but for a while it wasn't connected to that, so maybe.
I took care of that for you. But here's what I would encourage you to do, and this is what they want us to do, is download the app, utilize it, ask it questions. You saw the guy there was pretty cool. Start asking about, hey, where am I in relation to my goals? And pull up this whole CGI. Here's your gross commission income so far for the year. Here's how many transactions you've done. Here's where you need to be. Here are your expenses. This is going to be an unbelievable evolution of real estate agents becoming powerful business people. It really is, and strengthening the network we already have with each other. Because, and I'm sure John spoke about this a lot at Family Reunion, one of the biggest strengths we have as a company is what? The number of agents that we have. It's unreal. It's unreal. So anyway, I want to talk about, I think, one more thing. Nope. Let's have our panel come up before we do that. So ladies, if you'd be so kind as to come on up and have a seat.
Need a small butt.
All right. So I just have a series of questions that we'll go over with you guys, and then feel free to add, subtract anything that you'd like to the conversation that we have. And then from the audience, if you guys have questions too, feel free to jump in. So what I'd like to start with were, Sue, start with you, your biggest 2 or 3 takeaways from the event.
Well, Kelly, I really like Kelly and the technology. I'm a technology geek, so I'm really into this. Kelly is like, Josh Team said that Kelly is like a cute little 2-year-old, and he wants us to break Kelly a lot. So use Kelly. It's going to frustrate you, but in the end, it's going to be a great thing for us. Also, we should be using eEdge, which I haven't been. And so he really, Gary Keller said that we really need to start using eEdge and not the other CRMs out there, because everybody else out there is stealing our data, and we want to keep our data here with KW. It's a trust thing.
Can I ask one more question or add to that, Sue? And I don't know if he said this explicitly, and this is just my guess, but with the other things that they're building out with labs and everything that they're doing, the agent dashboard, et cetera, eEdge is going to essentially become the database or the CRM that it's going to be part of their new development. So the more you build it and the more people you already have in it, eventually that's just going to translate into the new database CRM management system they have in-house. Am I right about that? Okay. Did they talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was in a class with Josh Team, and he talked.
And Josh Team is who?
Oh, Josh is the head of our technology department. He's a pretty amazing person. He's the only one that was left after last year. They fired everybody but Josh, and now it's Josh and 100 other tech guys, gals that are working on our technology and doing the labs with agents.
What was the reason for that? Kind of change over.
Gary.
Last year, Gary, Mo, and
John?
No, the woman, I can't think of her name.
Mary Tennant.
Mary Tennant. They were looking over, because last year at Family Reunion, they announced that we were gonna have some amazing, technology that, a new website, I don't know if you guys remember that. And I kept waiting, we never saw anything. And so they explained that after Family Reunion, they went back in and, they were looking at the contract, and Mo looked at it and she said, we can't do this. And then Mary Tennant looked at it, she goes, we can't do this. And Gary said, yeah, we can't do this. I guess the technology company that they were working with wanted our data. After 2 years, they wanted to take all of our stuff. So they nixed that, and that's why they decided that we're gonna be the technology company.
Was that Register?
I have no idea who it was. They didn't disclose that. I don't think so. So, Dotloop is owned by Zillow, but Dotloop, the beautiful thing about Dotloop right now is that it's our stuff. Zillow cannot get into it. In fact, Josh said that they do audits on a monthly basis, making sure that Zillow is not getting into our stuff. And, that's what I want to.
It'll come to you. We can move to Nellie real quick while you search.
Yeah.
Nellie, how about you? 2 or 3 takeaways overall. We'll dive into more detail in a bit.
Okay,
What did
overall,
I do?
well, so I have Cindy, and I have these 5 agents in Eau Claire, and this guy amazing girl back here, she's in the region with us. So I have all of these new agents in my profit share downline that are like, bring home every nugget of info, and we want to learn it all, and next year we'll be there with you. And I was like, geez, I really hope I don't disappoint them. And really what it kind of came down to is I was really affected by this, one of the first panels that maybe it was even live broadcast, but it had all of these team leaders that are doing, 300, 400, 500 transactions, and they're doing things like events, open houses with 20 signs, calling FSBOs and expireds. And, so of course we've all heard that before, but what they did was they really dialed into the numbers on, okay, so if you're doing open houses, are you doing 8 open houses a month with 20 signs? And then are you marketing on Wednesday? And then are you following up with neighbors on Thursday? And then are you having, neighbors only open house an hour before the real open house? And then how are you following up with all of those neighbors after you sell the house? And I'm like, oh no. So I'm like, yeah. So it really gave me a lot of fire and direction on how to take those really non-sexy strategies,
The basics.
right, and translate that to people that are just getting into the business. And then, okay, so what is my skill set? Which one of these pieces can I take to model that?
Right.
So that was super exciting.
To do them at a high level.
Right.
With systems and strategy behind it.
Right, not just showing up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ms. Trudy?
So 3 things, something about Gary Keller, about opportunities, and then a personal takeaway for me, one of the breakout sessions. First of all, Gary Keller, he walks on stage day one. It's the big main session. 20,000 realtors on a main floor. We're not talking, cathedral style. Everybody's on the ground floor. So where I was sitting, I couldn't even see the stage where Gary was standing and interviewing. We had big screens. But the impressive thing is that he didn't get out on stage and start talking about how great he is and he's big decisions and, we're number one in volume production and agent count. He started out by interviewing agents that we could relate to. And it was that first day, I don't know, 3 or 4 different panels. He ended up with Jay and Wendy Papasan. But he started with this agent who was talking about events,
Right.
and how she built her business. She did 525 transactions in 2017.
And
And
if I recall, she's not in a
she
huge market.
lives in
No.
a city of
Oh, sorry.
15,000.
I stole your thunder.
That's
It's like
okay.
Menominee.
Yeah,
So say that one more time, how many
So
transactions?
525
And what's the
transactions,
population?
15,000. That's and she did events, but she did them the right way, like Nellie was saying.
Right.
She followed up. She asked for the referral.
This is the whipped cream lady.
The whipped cream lady, yeah. She did 14 to 16.
Now there are
In a
several
year.
whipped cream ladies in Keller.
Well, I'm becoming a whipped cream guy. To be honest with you. Okay, cool.
So, and just the way that Gary presented what his philosophy. So the question about why did he fire all of those people in technology is because of his philosophy and because of his heart for the company. So what was so clear to me is that he takes a huge responsibility in the fact that we are his agents. He now has a brokerage of 177,000 agents, the largest brokerage. That's a huge responsibility. And you could just sense that from him, that
And
he
it's big
takes
enough,
this.
and it's big enough to shape and impact the industry as a whole.
Exactly,
And he's aware of that,
exactly.
and that's what they're doing.
So he doesn't want us to go away. He talked a lot about artificial intelligence and data and how we need to keep our data and how, there was a mistake made back when Realtor.com came on the scene. And if we could go back and redo that, I think Gary would redo that, giving away the data. But we have what we have. And so it's really, really important to him to keep our data. And I think we're going to hear that from him this next year a lot. That message is going to be very clear, that don't give your data away. Don't give it to Zillow. Don't give it to Trulia. Keep it, because it's power, and it's going to keep us, this industry, alive. It's going to keep the person to person, the realtor to client relationship alive versus going internet.
I don't know when it will be.
Yeah.
A few years down the road from
Yeah.
now. My gut tells me they will make a move to
Mhm.
separate from those tools. They will no longer syndicate some of that information so that they can maintain all of it,
I think you're
which will
right.
be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was number one.
Yeah, so second, opportunities. So there were huge opportunities just being at family reunion. It was my first family reunion, and I highly, highly recommend that you go. Opportunities overall in Keller Williams are just so overwhelming. I felt like I didn't stay long enough. I left on Monday. There was just so much to do, so much to hear, so much to take part in, so much to listen to. And opportunities like profit share, opportunities like having a team, listening to these other agents talk about how they built their mega businesses, their mega teams. And I was inspired initially for my team when I went to Mega Camp in August of 2016, and listening to these agents talk. It's very inspiring to hear and to be able to take and glean what is important to you and what can you take back to your market and implement. So opportunities. Thirdly, the best breakout session for me was listening to Diana interview Mary Tennant and Linda McKissick. Linda did, she's earned over $1 million in profit share right now. And Diana just had this informal, she had them on stage one at a time. I had never heard Mary Tennant's story. She has an incredible story. She and her husband went bankrupt in the 80s. They lived in Colorado. He was in the oil industry, and it went bust. They went bankrupt, and she had to start over. She had no college education, but she got a job, which took them then to Austin, Texas, where she was introduced to Gary and Keller Williams, and that's how she grew her real estate business. But the title of that breakout session was Authenticity in Leadership. And these women were on stage, millionaires, and you would never know it. They each had a story to tell, a life story, and they're doing business. They're doing the real
estate business that all of us are doing here in our markets. And they took certain things that they were applying. So these women now are leaders, and they're authentic leaders. And they just shared some of the things that are important to them, like be genuine and courageous, dare to dream, give back to the community, draw inspiration from their own lives, and accepting of who you are, of what your own story is, and be good leaders. So those were my main takeaways.
Very concise. Yes, ma'am.
Gary Keller has said at many family reunions, I am surrounded by losers in my company because they have all lost everything.
Yeah.
Every one of the
Right.
leadership have lost something.
So what would Gary tell you about failure?
Fail forward quickly.
Yeah, he's once you got there, fail again, fail fast, fail often, right? Because that's where a lot of learning takes place. Sue, you were going to say something?
Oh, that last one. Gary has shared, I don't know at this family reunion, but in the past too, that's how he wants to surround himself with. And when they look at leadership, they will find someone who has failed big like that, gone into bankruptcy or something.
Like failing to have an award ceremony one year.
Yeah.
And just, Trudy talked about opportunities, and I knew that was going to happen throughout the entire weekend. And you go and you pick your sessions, and you're so overwhelmed, and you're like, I'm just going to do a couple of things. And that's exactly what I did. I did a couple of things every day. And then the whole rest of the conference, I literally walked around the convention floor and just prayed, God, put someone in front of me that I can help or can help me. And then this is what he did. Oh my gosh, like, that's not private. But, oh my gosh, these are all of the people that I met that had a significant impact in me or I them. And I mean, some of them are really crazy. Like seriously, I went and it was like on Monday, and I'm walking around and I see these two guys standing there with Baxter, Minnesota lanyards. So I said, hey, where's Baxter? And they were like, oh, it's up by Cross Lake. And I'm like, oh, my friend's from Cross Lake. And my husband's family has a cabin on Lake Pelican. They're like, oh, we grew up on Lake Pelican. And, where are you? And I'm like, well, I'm in Rochester at the Market Center down there. And we have this profit share expansion team. And then they went, what? And they wanted to know all about it. And I said, well, I'm coming up to Two Harbors next week for a closing. And they were like, how would you and your husband like to stay in our Lake Superior penthouse suite and, have coffee with us? Yeah. So like stuff like that happened. I was at Inspirational Morning, and I was like, okay, I'm going to meet the team leader from Hudson, and we're going to just rehash all of this. But I could leave early and go to the bathroom and miss all these people getting out of here. And then like, what are you doing? No, why would you leave early? Just sit here and just be blessed and listen to all this. So I did. I'm walking out of the convention center, and I see these 4 women right next to me, and they're wearing Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin lanyards. So I look over, and I was like, are all you people from Milwaukee? And they're like, yeah, where are you from? I said, well, I'm from Rochester, but I also do a lot of work up in Eau Claire. And she like went white. Then she looked at me. She goes, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here praying on who I can give this Eau Claire referral to. You need to call me. So then as soon as we got back, like that referral is going to pay for like the entire trip.
Cool. Use your app.
I know.
Right.
I know. She was older.
You also met Diana Joyce. Add some value to her and help them walk and talk her through it.
That's right.
You also met Diana Kokoska and gave her some essential.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is seriously. So before, like 3 weeks ago, Trudy and Lisa and I sat down and we wrote gratitude cards to Diana and had this gift for her. And we're like, we need to send this to Diana. Bold has done so much for us. So nobody could provide me with a good address for Diana. And I knew I was going to send her these amazing cards and oils, and they were going to sit in maps for like 3 years. So Trudy's like, did you send the oils? I'm like, yeah, I did. I lied. And so anyway, I was like, what am I going to do? So I brought him to family reunion. I put him in my bag and I'm like, I know I'm going to be able to give these to Diana. I didn't know how, but the first day, of course, I'm not dressed up. I'm wearing not a ratty t-shirt. But it was kind of dirty and jeans. And I'm on the convention floor. Then my phone dies. I go to charge it and I'm talking to these girls. They leave. I'm standing there in the hallway by myself. This old guy sent from God. I mean, he might have been like God reincarnated himself. And he looked right at me and he goes, excuse me, Diana Kokoska is going to be teaching a small group session in the MAPS coaching booth in 5 minutes, just so you know. Like he literally said that to me. So I said, thank you. And I walked right over there. So she's teaching this thing and, I'm in the front and, she goes through her whole thing and I'm smiling at her. And then there's photo opportunities. So I get in line, I do the photo op and I get just to the point where it's my turn. And then they're like, photo op over. See you at the car giveaway. And I'm like, what? So then I turn to one of the handlers and I go, I've taken Bolt 3 times and I went from 4 transactions to 38 and I need to tell her that. And he goes, yeah, you do. So he goes and gets her. I give her the cards. I give her this gratitude oil and she was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And she like took the cap off and smelled it, like putting it all over herself. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're incredible. So I talked to her and that was great. And then we went to the car giveaway, which they had to get through 5 people to give away. So if you go and register to win a car, go to the giveaway because otherwise you don't win. So 5 disappointed people. So anyway, then she picked me out of the crowd again to tell my story. So she like knows me. Yeah, it was fun.
I thought you were going to say you won a car too. And I was going to be like, what?
No, but my Aunt Rita, a top producer in Las Vegas, went to a Tom Ferris event about 10 years ago and she picked out her dress. She goes, I'm winning that car. They got to the giveaway and she was at the edge of her seat. And then they go, Rita lean, and she wins the car. So yeah, I go to car giveaways.
Well, thanks for sharing that. So a couple other rapid fire questions for you. Sue, biggest takeaway from the vision speech?
Well, the technology again. I
Okay.
mean, just what, and just again telling us to be patient, and it's going to be amazing.
Very good. Nellie, biggest takeaway from the vision speech?
Everyone talks about drinking the Kool-Aid in this company. So if you're not drinking it, why are you here? So I signed up for MAPS coaching and I'm like, all in on that because there's so much value here. We have to use it. Otherwise we can just not be here because it's not, yeah.
Trudy?
You didn't talk about the market this year. You didn't mention the shift.
So here's my takeaway on that, not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But I find that interesting. And I think a takeaway for all that for us is the market's going to do what it's going to do,
Right.
and it's almost not relevant if you're running the business the way you should be running it. The market will do what it's going to do, and no matter what market we're in, you will find success if you're doing the basics that you should be doing, which is interesting. That plus it was just probably more fun to talk about technology.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do the same thing. We'll go reverse order. Trudy, biggest takeaway from the state of the company speech?
I wasn't there for the state of the company
That's okay.
speech.
Nellie, were you?
What day was it?
So this is the John
That's
Davis
right.
speech.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So is that when they talked about all of the technology and the importance of the data ownership?
A little
No,
bit.
that
I
was
talked about
vision.
some
Oh,
data.
that was
That was
the
the
vision,
vision,
yeah.
How about you, Sue?
Well, John Davis, we actually had a party. That was when we had the party. Remember when he was
Oh.
celebrating? He said, "We're going to do something different this year. We're going to celebrate all of our successes."
Right.
Well, that's what we did, and he talked about us being #1 in agent count, sales, and all of that. And then at the end, they had streamers go off and some fireworks. It was pretty awesome. And being in Mastery, when you're in Mastery, you get to sit up front. So I was a few chairs away from that.
So you get singed
Did
by
you
the
get
plane.
scared?
I did not get singed, but I jumped.
So do you remember it all? Because toward the end of his speech, he started talking a little bit about our culture. Do you recall what he said about that at all? okay if you don't. It's part of my homework assignment for everybody anyway, so no worries, I know. What would you say was your most valuable takeaway that you can apply to your business this year that you got from Family Reunion? Whoever comes to mind for first.
I've got something. So there's a lot of breakout sessions, and I've been to Family Reunion many times. So, and it's the same stuff, obviously. So once you get to a point, it's fun to just go and have coffee or lunch with some of the agents that you haven't seen around the country for a while. So that's what I did. And we actually had a mastermind on Friday night. A bunch of us agents got together, and this one agent was talking about how she has, for the last 9 years, she's had a women's group, and it's masterminding. It's with the leaders, the women leaders in the community, and it's given her a lot of great connections that way. In the fall, they will do an exchange. You can bring in your purses and jewelry, and you can do an exchange with that. And she said that women just love it, and they raise money. So it's like $100 for them to come in. They have lunch, and then they whatever number of pieces they have of jewelry or purses, that's the number of tickets they get, and then they can go into the back room and go through and pick out different pieces of jewelry and purses. And that was pretty cool. I thought that was neat. Well, we were talking about what we could do for the guys.
Sounds good. Okay.
So that was a good
Trudy, Nelly,
takeaway.
anything?
I think it's thinking big,
Absolutely.
thinking, being there and being with agents from across the country. We have such a huge opportunity, not just for referrals, but for expanding our business.
Mindset,
Yeah,
knowledge.
Exactly. And so I went to, one of the breakout sessions I went to was the global GPS.
Global
And
property specialist.
yeah, exactly. And I'm not a GPS member. You have to pay to be a member, but I knew that I would meet people from probably around the world there, from the countries. That was an awesome thing at the beginning of the vision speech, to have the countries and the flags paraded up. I mean, that was very inspiring. And I met the OP in Costa Rica,
Oh, cool.
and we exchanged information, and,
Awesome.
and now we're communicating with each other. So who knows what that's going to lead to? I have no idea. I connected with a gentleman in Ottawa, Canada. He works with investors. And when I started talking about being from Rochester, Minnesota, and Mayo Clinic, I mean, he perked up. And I mean, both of those people have connected already with me. And so I think it's think big. Let's think beyond our market here. Let's think globally.
Absolutely. So Trudy, you kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious if Tu or Nelly, or maybe Trudy, have something else on this. What else or was said about data, controlling data, impacts on your business, or anything regarding that?
Don't buy anything by Boomtown, Brevity. Like, he totally slammed every vendor in that vendor hall, and those
He's known to do
booths
that.
were like totally ghosted the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
But the thing is, there are some teams that build their businesses using them. So
Right.
I also went to a breakout session where Gary interviewed Ben Kinney and Tim Heil and Adam Hock.
Ben Kinney, big Boomtown guy back
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And
Owns Brevity.
But he
Yeah.
owns Brevity.
Yeah.
And Gary
Yeah. didn't
slam Brevity.
Oh, he didn't?
No,
Okay.
no, he did not, just to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's part of
Yeah.
KW.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But anyway, using those tools, it depends on how you use them, and being very intentional. So, I was just inspired by when these team leaders, Adam, Hergenrother was talking about how he built his teams and the passion that was behind everything they said. So if you can take away the Boomtown, the buying leads, all of that, and get to the heart of why they're doing what they're doing, is to help other agents to build their own businesses. And yeah, it's helping them build their team and their businesses too, but their heart spoke through. I think it was Tim Heil who was talking about one of his buyer's agents who was asking to hire a showing assistant. And Tim was like, yeah, you've got to have so many transactions. He had a certain guideline that he had to acquire before you could hire a showing assistant, but he was making those goals, and his business, this buyer's agent had his own business, and he was doing really well. And this buyer's agent looked at Tim's car. He had just gone out and bought a brand new whatever, I don't know what it was. And he looked at Tim's car and he said, isn't that the same car that you were driving 10 years ago? And Tim was like, yeah. And he said, but didn't you make, however many $1,000 last year? And he said, yeah, but I'm putting it back into the company. I'm just making this better. I'm making this better for everybody. So yeah, these guys are making a lot of money, but they were all walking around the hotel lobbies just like we were. They were all
model Gary.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They were just like us. So that inspired me.
Right. And really the only thing that's separating anyone in this room from being on any of those panels is focus and passion and time.
It's your daily activities.
And relationships.
Think big. Think big was a big one for me. You probably heard me talk about before when I was at Edina Realty and when I did the calculations about how much I would need to pay my bills, and I had subconsciously capped my potential. Then I came to this company, and John Prescott was my first bold instructor. He told me to write a goal that would scare the crap out of me. I did. Then he told me to double it, and about poop my pants. And for the last 3 years running, we've surpassed that goal. And I would have never thought that big or started to wrap my mind around how I would go about achieving that if I hadn't been pushed to think bigger and to realize it. So any final thoughts from you ladies? I really, really appreciate your time and your willingness to come here and share it with us. Anything you want to leave with us? Otherwise, I'll wrap up with just a couple things.
Also grasp on the career growth initiative. Grasp that. I don't know how many of you use that here, but that's going to really help you to expand on everything. And the transmittal is going to go away eventually. Katie will love this, and I know she knows about it. And so everything's going to be in real time, and so that tool will get better too.
Absolutely. So the CGI, the Career Growth Initiative, and all the tools with that. So Katie, she's got a workshop coming up in March for that, and then every Monday in this room, there's a Career Growth Initiative phone call where they talk about different tools you can utilize, how to use the system online, all that fun stuff. I know it's been particularly tough for us to embrace because we've been spoiled with CTE a little bit. But this is something that it's similar to CTE. It's what the company's using to kind of help agents fuel the growth of their business. It's going to be synced with your app, like when that guy said, where am I in relation to my goals? Those goals were pulling from the Career Growth Initiative tools he utilized in my KW. So thank you for saying that, Sue.
I do have one more thing to say about Kelly and about the technology that we're using now. It is meant to be changing and evolving.
Absolutely.
So
if it's not, it's failing.
Yeah, and so that's why they set up labs, not to get frustrated, but to grow this thing. I think in the past, what Gary has done with the technology is, rolled it out and here it is. And, it had some kinks.
First off, I was outsourced from another company, right? And then they would just, here it is, give it a shot, and then it'd get broken.
And it would be outdated after a couple of months.
So this is a different approach, and I think it's refreshing, and it's just hang in there with it.
It was when you control it, you've got way more capabilities to impact it, tweak it, change it, or make it shape it the way that you want it.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that too. Nellie, anything final for you?
Just go to these big events, whether it's family reunion or mega camp, and just go. I mean, if you don't want to pay the face price ticket, just wait a few weeks before and get some big tickets that can't go and get a deal on it, Right.
It's also a business write-off, right?
Exactly. So just go because you'll get so much value out of it. And if you can implement just one or two things.
Yeah, and I think be intentional. So Nellie was very intentional. She had a plan when she went there to meet a lot of people. So it was a little disappointing to me because we went together and we hardly saw each other.
Oh, that was by design.
I know it was.
I'm just saying.
And it paid off. I mean, we didn't sit together at the general sessions.
Right, we
didn't-
had a couple dinners together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It was good
Yeah.
because it helped us to meet, expand our horizons, to
Yeah.
meet other people.
And I would say when you go to something like this, don't plan on ever seeing anyone from your market center, because then you're not getting the maximum value and exposure out of all of the richness that these people bring with their own experiences. I was just talking to this gal who I made like 5 new best friends, while I was there. So I was talking to Leah McCann in Florida, and I walked into Diana's session and I was like, okay, God, who do you want me to sit by? And this girl she was about my age, she looked at me, she's like, sit here. And I'm like, okay. So I sit down next to her. She goes, oh my gosh, you're from Rochester? Do you know Kinsellas? Do you know da-da-da-da-da? She named off like 4 families that I knew. And she's
Wow.
like, yeah, they all come to Florida. And we could do this big referral business together. And let's talk about that. So then in talking to her, she was like, yeah, my MAPS coach told me that if I don't do 120 transactions this year, I'm going to get dumped. And I don't want to lose my MAPS coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I was looking at my numbers and where my pipeline was for this year and what my goal was, which I thought was really big when I went to Family Reunion. And that got increased by like 25% because of her and just being like, yeah, you should be able to do that.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Thanks, ladies. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll get those papers for you, Nelly, so don't worry about it. So we've got about a couple of minutes left. I just want to wrap up quickly, and thanks for sharing that. Trudy, I can't agree with you more when it comes to the value of attending those events, whether it's Family Reunion, Mega Camp, Bold, any training event that's going on.
Mastermind.
Spring Masterminds.
Right.
So the next big event will be in Austin Mega Camp this coming year. That's going to be, is it September?
August.
August
Right in the
beginning?
middle of August.
That'll be great.
That'd be really
Nice and warm.
Yeah.
So put it on your calendar and attend. It's a lot of fun. And like they said, we can hang out with each other all day, every day. We typically do. So when you're at these events, whether it's Bold or Family Reunion, Mega Camp, go meet other people. Pick their brains, find out what they're doing, what works for them, and build some referral relationships. So what I want to do before you go is just recap again how this works. Download the app called Kelly, and this app syncs with KW Connect, on which you have a profile, and it also syncs with your referral network, which you can access within KW Connect. Okay, so that's how you need to visualize and understand how these tools work together. Now, Nelly, I'll see if I can pull up my profile really fast.
Okay.
To answer your question that you had about your KW Connect profile and why people were telling you you need to make it more robust.
It looks a little bit better now than it did when people were telling me that. So maybe it got fixed.
There
There
may-
wasn't anything I did, so
Like
that
these-
worries me.
Like they say, they're making improvements all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was in that class, there were 250 of us agents that downloaded the app right away, and a lot of us could not. It kept breaking. And
Right.
Josh had someone sitting right there, and he kept fixing it. And then I've noticed
That's
that there's been
nuts.
a lot of updates. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've noticed that,
Yeah.
that every once in a while you have to go in there and update.
Right.
So they are.
Yeah, it's pretty
No, I
amazing.
haven't had that.
Okay.
So everybody has a KW Connect profile, and what you can do is once you go to it, it's kind of like, think of it as a newer version of White Pages, right? We all had White Pages before, which was kind of interesting. This is White Pages on steroids. So everybody's got this. You can follow other people. People can follow you. You can add content to it. Think of it like this is basically our Facebook group, but for all of Keller Williams, which is pretty cool, right? So build this out, and then as you do it, I'll scroll down. You can add information to your profile, like the areas that you service and things like that. And pull your stuff for you, service area, and these are the areas that you can add more information to and continue to build. And you can add content, connect with people. It's all synced up with all the other features that this has. So think of it that way. You've got Kelly, the app, which interacts with KW Connect, on which you have a profile, and then your referral network is also there as well. So Nelly, I would go to your profile, now click into settings and start building it out. Include your service areas where you cover, include some statistics, why people should work with you. Maybe if you have any niche markets that you work with, like rural or farm type property, put that in there so when people are searching for agents to refer business to, you can A, set yourself apart, or B, speak to certain niches or target markets that you service that might capture their interest. And I would let people know, I don't just service Rochester, I service these areas or these specific cities as well. Because who knows, somebody might
Right.
call them about Casson or Byron, for example. If they see Rochester, if they're not from here, they might not put 2 and 2 together. But if you have the other surrounding areas listed, okay, nope, I see it on the list. This is a person I should refer to. Any questions? Yes, sir.
At the last family reunion I was at, they were kind of downplaying E-Edge.
Okay.
Like, I mean, they bad mouth right from the stage.
Mhm.
Are we supposed to get back into it now?
Yeah, again, it's the philosophy behind it. So
Yeah.
maybe the reason they were bad mouthing it is because of the funkiness of it. But the idea, the philosophy behind it is that it's our data. It belongs to us and don't give it away. Don't use,
Yeah.
other CRMs.
I think the
They're
big,
coming out with something else to replace E-Edge.
they will, there's a the KW dashboard, and it's all gonna be all encompassing. If you go and you visit KW Labs, you can vote on which features you want hopefully released sooner rather than later. The dashboard is one of them. I recommend you vote for that one if you want. What I think Gary is really trying to communicate to you more than anything is maintain your database either in E-Edge or separate from one of these other CRMs that you could, like a Top Producer, for example, right? Because ultimately you're kind of submitting that data somewhere and who knows where it goes. So me personally, my team database is all in Excel. We own it. We can put it anywhere we want to. It's if Top Producer, didn't allow me to log in tomorrow, it wouldn't be gone. You know what I mean? So I think that's what he's trying to say. When in doubt, use E-Edge for now until they either repackage it or come up with a new platform that you can migrate it to, which will be internal to Kelly
Which
Williams.
they've come up with a platform, it's just number of agents who signed up for labs right away, they're in. So if you go into the lab and sign up for everything, eventually they will let you in.
Yep. You can request access to be a part of the beta testing group. I've done it. I haven't gotten into all of them. Some of them you can utilize already, like Kelly, which they released. But so great question. I would say use it, or just keep doing what you're doing with the ultimate plan to eventually migrate it when they unroll.
If they shut the IDX link down for 30 days, Zillow and Trulia would be out of business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If all real estate companies did that, if they stopped syndicating, and you have a lot of angry agents that pay monthly fees to those.
And Gary,
Exactly.
and Gary kind of hinted about the MLS thing too. Yeah. So that would be interesting.
A national-
A national broker-owned or broker partnered with MLS.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that.
So are you for it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the word is that
It's Project Upstream.
that the local boards are pulling out of it. Our local board is for it. I know that for a fact. But that's the reason why it hasn't moved forward.
What's interesting, if we have a little bit of a higher level discussion here, I know that we're beyond time, so if you need to speak out, please feel free. But Realtor.com, if you look at Realtor.com, that is for all intents and purposes, that's a national MLS, right? We have syndicated to it. If you can't find something in La Crosse, in Seymour, or the Twin Cities, or in Mankato, if you go to Realtor.com, you will find it because all the MLSs feed to that, right? In theory. So the question is, how do we now, as a real estate brokerage or brokerages, if we partner together, take some of that control back so that people aren't basically, coming up with packages to sell leads to other people, which I have no judgment on that. That is what it is. But really what we want to be able to do is if you take the listing, by God, the leads that listing is generated, we want to come back to you more than anybody, right? That's the idea behind it. And, we're tired of these companies, taking our information and doing what they will with it.
Realtor.com started by NAR.
Yep.
And then they sold it to one of their principals about 5 years later.
Yep. When that's what Gary was talking about when they made that deal. I remember one of the first events I went to, it was Mark Willis at the time. He's like, yeah, I was there. I remember. I signed down the dotted line. I got a check for it. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Hindsight's 2020. So there's a lot of interesting things I think are going to happen in a very short amount of time moving forward. And my job is to do my best to keep everybody informed about it, updated, understand what's happening, know how to utilize and implement the tools, and be able to communicate the changes and why they're happening so that, because if you don't understand it, the natural reaction sometimes is to fear it. But if we do understand it and how it can impact our businesses positively, we'll be more excited, we'll embrace it, we'll utilize it, and we can ultimately use it as a helpful tool to grow our business and to generate more money.
Gary said 12, he said 12 to 18 months are going to be.
Cool.
Absolutely.
That sounds the best. So the last thing I would tell you is this: if you log into KW Connect, you can access Gary's keynote speech. You can access the state of the company. If you go to the 2 hour and 35 minute mark on Gary's speech, he spends the remainder of his speech talking about wealth building. I highly, highly, highly recommend you listen to that. Do yourself a favor, carve out some time on your next drive. It's maybe a 30-minute spiel that he does. Listen to him talk about wealth building and your mindset regarding wealth. And then John Davis, about 45 minutes into the state of the company, starts talking about our culture and what our culture looks like moving forward and how it's evolving. So take a minute and listen to a couple of those. That being said, thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. And a special thank you to the ladies that shared today. Thanks.
I'm doing well.